why did you and when did you enlist?
March 26th, 1966.
Right.
And then I went active, went into basic July 26th of 66. And graduated from boot camp sometime in October of 66. I was a fleet sailor back then.
Fleet sailor, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Was the Vietnam War the reason you enlisted, or were you planning on enlisting regardless?
I was planning on enlisting regardless because my dad was a Navy World War II, and I had an uncle that was, I found out years later that he was UDT, which would be SEALs now, during Korea.
Oh, okay.
So, and then he showed me slides of them being out at sea, and I wanted to go out to sea. But maybe I was a coward, so I was a draft dodger. I enlisted.
So even though you voluntarily enlisted, did you have any friends or family members that were affected by the draft?
A lot of classmates, I guess. I really don't remember. We had, all I know is we had one kid, he was held back in the lower grades, so he'd have been my age. Got drafted, went to Vietnam, and got killed over there. But I don't know anybody, my classmates that got drafted.
So where were you during the Tet Offensive, and how were you affected by that, if you were at all?
It was up at Da Nang at a supply base for, it was called I-Corps. How was I affected? I was base security, so we stood a lot of hours of watch while that was going on. We did not have any action where I was at. But
Okay. And Da Nang is in North Vietnam, right?
no, South Vietnam,
South Vietnam.
south of the DMZ.
Okay.
I used to have a map of, would have been a good visual, but I don't know where it went.
So when you got back from Vietnam, how was life? What was life like there? How was it different before the war, if it was at all?
Well, I can't really say. I can't really say. I was in the Navy, and get back to a small town in Minnesota, there was no protest
Right.
that I was aware of. Just glad to be back home.
But what were your feelings towards the war? Like, obviously, nobody really likes war, but since this was such a controversial one, how are your feelings towards it?
Well, at the time I wasn't aware of the political. We were supposed to be there to get the South Vietnamese to unify the country and to get the South Vietnamese free from communism.
Mm-hmm.
We had about 4 weeks of training before we went over, and they gave us all this information about what the people were like and what how their habits were, how they lived, which they were pretty poor people.
Yeah.
But at the time, politically, I guess, at the time, I went because it was right. My dad and relatives served in World War II, so the country needs you. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.